My name is Jonathan Parks, and welcome to Jonathan's Nature Crafts. I must inform you that I do not live in this house by myself, but live here with other people. Sometimes other members of the household may have to walk through areas where I might be recording with other family members on the phone. If you hear any noise like that, please feel free to disregard. We are doing our best to get noise canceling equipment, which may at least keep you from hearing exactly what is being said. Thank you for considering. Well, I tell y'all that I say for another little moment after we kind of got those little retriever ornaments back down into the oil to kind of soak a few days, we'd finally get around to taking care of another little matter here. And I tell you, I'm always laying things down and forgetting where I put them, like whatever I did. Well, there's a pair of scissors. You got this squirrel pattern, so we're going to kind of work on getting a little cutout of that done, and kind of put the kind of work goes into this piece, and get a little ways of making things just be a little bit of a kind of a magical little ways of going. I say that this is just one of those days. I kind of got to working very hard today and had to rest a little while, then decided I'd kind of get back up to kind of do a little bit of this kind of work right here. So I'd say we can kind of work on these little squirrel ornaments now and make that little cut there too. I say I've got to turn it down like this so you can kind of see exactly what I'm doing, make all the cuts I needed to. And I say that there's this little moment now we can kind of lay them on top here. I've got just a little pencil to work with, and kind of, I'd say sometimes the shape doesn't always come out the exact very way that it should, but we just finally get things worked out where we can finally put a little extra time in what we do, and say that this kind of project has ways that we fold along little lines and make the kinds of drawing lines we need to make for it, and then kind of work this way about it, I say, and then do the nice little thing we have here and work our way in it. I say this is just one of those special ways that we kind of just make the best use of our material. I think we'll turn this squirrel over, kind of do a little bit of extra into this other little side too. And I tell y'all something, people, I really like putting my slogan on things, making it a little bit kind of readable and all. So I say that this is just a little work that kind of makes its own way to come and see how we make the lines come in on each side of the squirrel, and then just I'd say put the same kind of work down on this very side as well. And you know, it's been kind of busy lately. So if you kind of saw the little things I probably did on the last little things I carved, I say that that was just a busy way to take about the ornaments and then kind of work our way up to what we have and see how tiny a thing can really kind of work its way into our hearts and our lives and our ways. Oh, I say, beautiful bit of work can hasten us and make happiest days of everything we have. I say, good work is really just a payable price, and I say that things will get a little bit kind of expensive here and there, but I say that sometimes it just takes a good amount of work to make something a little bit of a worthwhile thing, I say. And so that's what we get here. I think at this moment it'll be time to kind of make another little line here that will be the eye of the squirrel, and probably kind of get this a little closer so you can see a little better, I say. And when it comes down to it, just kind of like put this line down right here below the ear, and make one that kind of comes a little bit above the nose to make them so they kind of have about like equal triangles in place. And then I say make a line across the front. This is where we're going to go about to try to make the eye, and I say that a little line this way and a little line this way can come down to where we make a little face of a creature come along. And so I say that this is just kind of a little bit of a joy to make. So I come down to where we're going to take a little rotary tool, and I say just make it so there can be an eye on each side, and come down to where we're going to put the place right in just like that. And then see how and I'll say we kind of got the eyes a little bit equal there, and kind of say another time to switch tools over in the socket and come down to get the wood burner out. And we're going to ignore these lines right here that are up there made out to make the eye, and instead we'll do this little burning trick. We will sort of like make this place right here that separates the ear, and I say make another little one in the back, kind of put this line along here. I say kind of make it so we do the little front paws and hands just a little way like we do. And normally I'd say that when you kind of do the flat plane carving three-dimensional squirrels, you wouldn't really, like put in the eyes, but we kind of do it here because this is kind of a different kind of squirrel, a different way of making it. So I say make this little place here along the mouth. I say come here and make the line that separates the little tail from the body and get it right into a really good place. And I'd say we got the lines in just like that. And for further work, we kind of got a place to make the ears on these ones as well. And come back, do the little paws again. Make it on this side too. Take the place where we make that line that kind of separates the front two paws from the belly, and then just one little line that kind of separates the little tail from the body. I say that this is just some fine work we've got here in our midst. I'll tell y'all that there comes a time when we're going to kind of make this little place here where there's this little mark we make for the ear, and we make the inside of the ear just like that, and then kind of put it on this part too and sort of get a little bit more of an ear in place. I say that this is a time when we're going to kind of take this little thin grit sandpaper and kind of try to get rid of all the lines that we burnt in, or at least smooth them out. We still want the lines to be there, but we kind of don't want them to be so outwardly black, so we kind of make the little lines to separate how little squirrels can make a little place. They have a little home that's called a drey, D-R-E-Y. That's what they build. And I say just kind of working our way into the pieces. We kind of got the little nose to come right into its place, and I say there's going to be a little more to come along this way. Take little buggy squirrels, and I say what they all kind of do. I tell y'all that they just kind of are such creatures in the wild, and there's types that live in a forest, types that live in a jungle, types that live in a desert. They can live in just about any environment depending on their breed and their part of the world. And if you've seen my intarsia projects, you've seen all the different kinds of squirrels from Asia and Africa that I've made into intarsias. I say there's one little line we got to make here. Get rid of that little black part there, I say, and come back, take a little bit of this, get rid of a little more, and just, I say, kind of make things out. And come to think of it, there comes a time when we kind of got to, I think this time around we'll use the gold to do it. We used the bronze little hooks last time for the golden retrievers, but I think we're going to use the gold ones to do these squirrels. And I say that perhaps a good place would be down here in the little line that separates the body from the tail, because that would be a good place for both sides to hang equally and not for one side to weigh down the other, and put a little hooky in its place and kind of get it just where it ought to be. I say this was something I didn't think through before I started working on this video, and I don't even think I brought over here with me that pair of wire pliers that I would normally need in order to do it into a little space this small. I think I probably left them somewhere, but we've probably got something close over here. I guess I'd say that any pair of pliers can do if you have to really get the hook all the way in. So I'd say we're going to try to screw it in just the way it ought to be. Try to get it in its own right place and kind of work our way about it. It's just kind of the thing where it's just kind of putting little hooks down to things and making it so that we're kind of working our heads in and kind of making things so they'll do a little bit better in ways for us. I say this little hook is something that ain't got nothing to fasten with, so don't know how that's going to go, and I say just put the little daggum thing down where we can work a little ways into what we're doing and kind of show a little effort. And apparently there's not enough room to get it down in that way, so we might, just might, have to probably go a little more up here. Not right behind the ear like we did with the golden retriever, but I'd say maybe up here closer to the neck, I guess. Try to get it right in, and hopefully this will hang equally from each side and kind of come down to where we will have just the right hook in just the right place and get it just in the fashion we ought to kind of have the little hook in, and just kind of gradually work it through, get it in as tight as it ought to and needs to be, and make it so we have just some little fashion of a item for a squirrel we take and do and make of what we have. And I'll tell you all the little rest of the details later, but this is where we're coming down to a self kind of need to see what we're going to see and have and do, and make it where it's going to come up in a way where it's just like this. We're going to try to hang this from something, see what it does. Hopefully it be level enough, and turns out it hangs equally enough here. Let you all see it, what it does. I say that this little hook is not the best thing, but, or this little knitting needle rather, but I'll tell you all that I've got another little hook to put on as well, and that one, it just kind of fell in some random place. It's probably going to turn up later, but as for now, no need to search for that one because there's probably more we can find, and I've got like a whole container full of them here, so I say that we're going to find another golden hook. Sometimes I think they kind of get a little bit too easily dropped, but here and there we catch them, and I say that this is just one thing where we got a little one in life and kind of got to get it down into the back, just a little bitty ways below the ear, and kind of show what this is going to come out to be when we all get done here. And I say that even though the last video was long, not sure just how long this one is going to last, but even some of those last steps we took, the branding and stuff like we did with the golden retrievers, we're not going to do it this time with the squirrels because, you know, it's kind of taken forever just to do some of these steps right here, and kind of where we're working a little ways into what we have and make and do, and I'll tell you all a little more stories later as to how we can kind of just screw this hook right in, get it right into a really good spot, and kind of make it so it's going to fasten the rest of the way in and through, and see what we have. And I'd say it's so unfortunate how there comes those moments we have to take the tools we have because I mislay them. I can't always find the exact ones I need, so it'll get a little difficult here and there, but here's what I'm going to decide to do at this moment, and that is do what I'm going to do to the fronts. I am going to take some green paint and paint on some holly leaves, then come back with some red paint and paint on some berries. So I say that with this kind of line of work, we got where we can kind of make some kind of leaf here. Don't know what it's going to be. It could be a pine leaf or a fir limb or something like that. Whatever it is, it looks very Christmassy, so it's the kind of thing that's going to work for the design. And I say that this is just one of those things where we're going to design just what we have to make into the way that a little piece of artwork is going to have to go to make it so that we have just the right kind of picture in mind for what we're going to make, what it's going to be, and just the season that it is made to celebrate. So that's where we got a couple little greens on here, and I'd say for the moment take some little red, and I'll tell y'all just take a little tiny some kind of brush that has very skinny bristles, and if I can find it here, and just use one like this to dip into the red, and we're going to put little berries around it. This is how we come up with this particular one here, and for all we do, I say that there's just one little piece of place where we put another red berry or two on, to make it just like this. And I'll tell y'all that it's going to come down to the fact that, you know, we'll get around to putting the slogan into the other side. But as for how a little work comes along this way right now, perhaps I'd say we just find another little skinny bristled brush, and without really having time to kind of do much, I say that we can probably also just take the wood burner and put in Happy Holidays. What we put in Happy here, we're going to put it on the other side of the line with this other little squirrely here. And kind of make it so we got just the kind of work that we're going to have here with the Happy Holly here, and I say with just a little days down here, kind of take it so it's going to be just the thing we want to see when it all gets done. I say that just nice little lines, nice little calligraphies kind of make our work very wonderful, and just the way that it kind of comes to be. I say that this is just what it will come down to being when we get certain things done. And I'd say that that's probably all I'm going to demonstrate with the squirrels here. Try to get the rest of the work done separately from the video, because that last one was very long for all we were doing, and it was so hard in the last one for me to really get the branding iron right while I was talking and filming. So that was kind of the way that it worked for that. I'd always say that there's going to be more to demonstrate come over time, and with this kind of thing, it's just little ways that we work about what we do. I remember, it makes me think about how there's this Christmas ornament my mom still has in the box of ornaments. She still brings it out and puts it on the tree every year, but it was one that, like in 1985 or something, or 1984, something like that, when I was in preschool, the preschool teacher put my name on it and wrote Merry Christmas, Love, and then she put her name after that. It was just kind of a kind thing somebody did with all the little sentiments and things we have left over from those days. That teacher at my preschool became someone that for a long time my mom and her did crafts together in shows, and they kind of worked together and did a lot of things. And my mom just kind of, she made her crafts and sold them, while my dad kind of pastored his church and worked in printing and delivered newspaper, opened and closed the print shop every day, while she made crafts and babysat a child. And you know, but between all the jobs they did, that was just how we barely got by in those days. It was just rough for us. And I say that these little ways are just kind of things I'll kind of do just to kind of put out a little name and a following, because I've really got a slogan that I put out there, and I say there's been a lot of artisticness in my family If any of y'all remember Jim Hamilton, who used to paint the watercolor pictures, or if you have ever been in Lexington at the Turfland Mall back in the 80s or 90s and remember the Hamilton Limited, and my grandfather, he painted all those pictures, and after he died, my grandmother continued to run the store and ran that Wildcat Country booth too, where she sold a lot of Kentucky Wildcat merchandise, and kind of how they kind of paid the bills and made money to spend on us kids. So I say that there's so much more I'm going to tell you all as we get a little further on and have more to say, but that pretty much does it for this video, and thank you very much. Goodbye. Thank you for watching. Hope you enjoyed the video. And if you haven't already, please subscribe to this channel. I hope to see you in the next video. Stay tuned.